Hello, and welcome to the Do or Do Not podcast. I am currently your host, not the co host, the main host. Yes, finally, I get to do this all by myself. No Casey. We don't need him. I'm all the muscle, all the man you need. Got my favorite characters, got the appropriate weight. It's really not that hard, Casey. Too bad you can't be here to shut me up. Anyways, I am Brad, the main host today for this quick little episode. Casey's out somewhere, probably sunbathing naked, shining his head. I don't know. I mean, really, what does he do other than make me cry? I mean, I can get my wife to do that for me. I'm using his big mic. I sweated all over his equipment. It's a solid day, right? That's how you start a podcast. So today it's going to be a little quick one. I thought that maybe Casey would not be here, so I reached out to a couple of dear listeners, and yes, we have some, to throw me some questions. So I thought I would just answer some just so we can have something out, and say, really, Casey, we don't need you to do 85% of the talking. You with your professional podcast voice, your overly masculine energy. I mean, like, really? I mean, dude, I got this. So let's go through some questions. All right. I don't know how long this is going to take, but any time is better than no time. Am I right? What's that, Casey? That's right. We do love Kathleen Kennedy here. Okay. It's weird that I can say that and I'm constantly not getting berated about it. All right. So my first question that I'm going to answer is from Hector, who wrote me on Twitter/X. Hector is a friend that kind of commits to working out with Casey and always backs out at the last second. Casey might know who I'm talking about. But he writes, what is Casey like off the mic, and what is it like to be trained by him? Well, do you like to cry, Hector? Do you like to feel shamed of your body? Do you like to be made fun of? Called women's names? And if you're a woman, called men's names? If you do, this is the right spot for you. All right. On a serious note, it all depends. If you are new with Casey, as you're a new client, I've been with him just a few times as he's broken in some new people in what he was with me. Casey in the beginning is very respectful. He's quiet, very professional, good-natured. He's not the yelling type at you. And then as you get a development with him, if you develop a relationship with him, he starts to kind of see what your personality is and how you like to do things. And that's when you get to see more of Casey really is, which can be pretty extreme. I mean, the guy knows as much country music as he does like old school rap. All right. He tries to show off this main macho exterior humbug, but inside he's really just nothing but a big teddy bear. And believe it or not, we've talked a little politics, but he has been known to work out with a pride, conquers all shirts when he doesn't think anybody's watching. And I swear to God, that's true. So he can be a little bit offsetting. He can be pretty deep, multi-layered. But if you have work with him as long as I have, or you've developed a good relationship with him, then he can just be just an absolute shit stir that I know he is, and I love him for it. So there, Hector. That's like a question, health related. That's all you get. That's all you get, freaking Casey. Next question. Now, this is right up my alley. Okay. This is from my guy, Seth, from Instagram. We text all the time. And he asked this great question that I might ask Casey when, if he ever shows up again. I mean, really, wouldn't it be nice if this episode just had 1 million more views than all the other ones? And I can like see in your face, Wilson. Anyway, Seth wrote, what type of post-apocalyptic world would I choose to live in? The Walking Dead universe with the zombies, Terminator with the killer AI, or The Road, or any one of those after society collapses after the war or some big event. Kind of feel like we're living in one now, kind of close to living in one now. But I'm going to go, and this is actually pretty easy, going with the Walking Dead zombies. You know, I'm a firm believer that slow walking zombies are not a threat. And if slow walking zombies imaginally appeared on a Friday, I think by Saturday night, we'd all be pretty much fine. You know, this country is so well armed. Everyone knows you double tap in the head. You could probably have like zombie cockfighting pits, you know. I'm sure they'd have like zombie races, zombie obstacle courses. Of course, you know, some redneck somewhere would probably be chomped on because he was trying to treat it like a alligator or something, like a gator. You know what I'm saying? Otherwise, I mean, come on. I could outwalk a zombie if I had to. I don't think they'd ever swarm people. At least not in this country. I mean, really, that's the easiest question there is. You know, if you're like, if for those who've watched The Road, which might be the most depressing post-apocalyptic movie ever made, yeah, who'd want to live that? No, man, I'd be like the woman in the story who just runs out naked in the middle of a nuclear winter and freezes to death early on, because I'm like, why bother? You know? That's crazy. I don't even think Casey would want that. Terminator, you know, I think that'd be the second. You know, he'd eventually get you. Everything is going to be done by Elon Musk anyways, hopefully, since I've named my only son after him, as his middle name is Elon. Maybe he'd throw in a good word before it totally got out of the way, and I can bow quickly to the robot overlords. You know, Casey, he'd be toast. Him and technology don't mix. You know, if you try to see him with an iPhone, he's really not good on the socials. I mean, really, he's been in charge of our Facebook pages for I don't know how long, and they've closed because it's been due to inactivity. I think Matt commented on a video of one of our early things. Matt, our trusted, dear listener and fellow workout warrior, and I replied to Matt's comment on YouTube like 9.5 months later because Casey dropped the ball. So Casey would be toast. If I was Casey, I would choose Zombies 1, post-apocalyptic, post-society world, hashtag The Road 2, because he really doesn't like people. He'd probably enjoy just wandering endless wilderness, hunting squirrels and mutated rabbits to survive. That would be Casey's number 2. And then 3, technology. I think anything with technology, he'd be done in for. I think he'd be toast, right? I mean, I think we can all agree on that. Good job from Seth. That's why he's my boy. All right. Next is Cynthia from X. Cynthia, I believe she worked at or used to work at Wikipedia. She's one of the few Kathleen Kennedy people out there that loves her, you know, so automatically wasn't going to bring this up in front of Casey. This is clearly an anti-Casey question. She asked me, not Casey, just saying that for you to learn, Matt, Casey, how would I personally fix the Star Wars franchise? Dude, that's easy. One, you hire me and you crown me emperor of all things Star Wars. That's the number one step. Two, I've said this before. So Cynthia, thanks for listening to the other podcast, because I would have answered this already, but since it's just me here and I'm trying to buy some time, I'll answer it again. This time without Casey mocking me and trying to make me cry. I would cast a new version of Luke, Leia, Han Solo, the whole gang, and pick up right after Return of the Jedi, after the end of the 70s, early 80s classics run there. I'd keep the sequels. I'm sorry, the prequels. Keep those. So you get like Anakin when he was little. That's all fine and good. Keep that. Keep episode, New Hope, Strikes Back, Return, all of that. Keep those, fine. And then act like the sequels with Kylo Ren and Rey never happened. That the original cast never got killed in such a way that Luke never gave up. I would go right into the books that my boy Timothy wrote and follow the gang. There's so many good stories that have sold millions and millions of copies, and they've based toys off of them. They've based action figures, comic books, all of this stuff that if they just make a movie, they could just resell them again. They're already out there. And you see, Luke grow up and grow into his powers and marry his wife and, start up trying to teach Jedis again, being hopeful. You see Leia and Han Solo get married and have kids and see how their family grows. And you get all these big threats that have just been all over the books that would just absolutely make hordes of cash and stay with the Skywalkers. Even after Luke and Leia, you have their kids, you don't have to stop with Luke. The power of the Force goes through them from Anakin on down. I just don't know why they don't do it. You don't even have to write screenwriters. You can just pick one of these books and say, all right, how do we turn this into a screenplay and make it into a movie? And you would just have endless movies. That's what I would do. But, what am I? I'm just a very pale Irish guy talking by himself on a podcast. All right. This is from Nate, who may or may not be my fellow, I don't know what the term is. Fellow bro, maybe? I'm not hip. But he also could be my favorite nephew. Just throwing it out there. Not saying it is, but how many big Nates out there that talk to me on X or Twitter, whatever you call it. He says, dearest Uncle Brad. Well, I guess that is the Nate that, I'm thinking about getting engaged to my girlfriend. Can you lend me some main marriage advice? Nate, talk to the right guy. We won't get into Casey's love life or his dating profiles. No, you're talking to the stud. Okay. With this body, ladies, if you're only watching, listening, you're missing out on me flexing on the YouTube channel. Might want to hustle over there. I clearly have had a line of little women and ladies banging down my door trying to get after this Irish body. And let me tell you, I know all about women. Okay. So Nate, take it from your uncle. Don't listen to your dad. Take it from me. Women are all pretty simple. When you start to see them get really upset at something, I always like to ask, is it that time in the month? Because sometimes, honey, that can really affect your mood. And if it is, maybe we should wait until afterward and bring this up again. Okay, that's step one. If that doesn't work, I find out that saying, honey, I think you should relax. Can we calm down? It's not that serious. Does a really good job of like setting the tone of any good argument, debate, anything. So that's two. Last, I think I will say is I like to throw down a good butt smack every now and then, just to let your wife know who the man is, who's wearing the pants, who makes all the decisions. You know, I mean, according to the Bible, Eve came from my rib, right? They took a piece of a guy and made a woman. That's man. There's more man than because we're man. I think Casey would agree with this as well. So, Nate, I hope that you take this advice from your loving uncle. And when you get divorced, forget I ever said this. All right. I love you. Go Bucks. You know what I'm talking about. All right. Thanks, Nate. I know you would come up with a good question. It's sad that I threw some things out there and I only got like six responses. We really got to work on our numbers, people. All right, next. My mom writes, why can't I be a good Christian man like your brother? Well, screw you, Mom. Clearly, you have not listened to the podcast. I mean, what more can I do? All right. Why won't you love me? I am clearly not as vocally talented. My brother is a very successful podcaster. I am not. He looks better than me. I can't help that. Better looking kids. Sorry, Maddox and Elia, but you know you love Nate, Hannah, and Seth, right? I mean, come on, they make some good looking gingers. There's really no comparison. My brother was prom king, captain of this football team, dated the prom queen, had a tremendous set of hair, immensely likable, extremely popular pastor. He's close with God. He's got close with all kinds of friends. I mean, I hang out with Casey over here. You know, I mean, I got nothing. You know, it's kind of bringing me back down. I'm sorry. Let's just move on to the next question because that was kind of deep. All right. Someone named Brad E. I don't know who that could be. Wrote me, Dear Brad, is your back sore from carrying all that Riz? Great question, Brad. You know, it is. It is. My shoulders are a little slumped. I have sometimes I get poor posture, but that's only because I'm carrying so much Riz, carrying so much of this podcast, so much of Casey all on my shoulders. It weighs me down. I constantly have to get my back worked on because I'm just so full of Riz. I don't even know what Riz is, but I'm taking it that it's good. Because why else would I write it? I mean, why else would someone else write it for me? You know, clearly my mom's not going to write that I'm so good with the Riz. Screw you, Mom. I love you, though. So the answer to that question, yes. Yes, my back is very sore from carrying this much Riz, sexual energy, charisma. I carry just a massive amount of muscle, a tremendous amount of wit and intelligence. Sometimes I'm so smart I can't even speak straight, you know? All right, last question. Last question. I've killed, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes for this, and then maybe I'll ramble on. Last question is, and this one is just a bunch of numbers. I think it's a sexy bot, but I don't know. I'm just going to answer it anyways. If Kathleen Kennedy and Hitler were on a boat and you had to save one of them, if they're both drowning, they fell off the boat. Well, who would I save? I think this is more for Casey than it is for me. Good question. Joey at 3987281. Yeah. Or is that an I? I don't know. So Joey, good question. I think I would probably light the boat on fire so neither one could escape. That's probably what I would do. But on a serious note, I mean, I guess Kathleen Kennedy, I don't know. The fact that I'd have to really pause tells you kind of how I feel about her. And, I don't mind the woke stuff as much as Casey does. He's all cry me a woke river, he's like an old man yelling at the clouds. Just don't kill Luke. Why'd you have to kill Luke in Han Solo? Why'd you have to do that? I mean, we all had that picture of them, that JJ released right as they were reading the script for the first time, where you saw the old cast and the new cast, and we were all filled with hope of like, oh, we're going to get some more adventures of like Luke and Leia and Han all together with Chewbacca, the gang all together on the Falcon. No, he didn't do that. That's the only reason why I paused. Otherwise, I would have like clearly pulled you out over Hitler. Hitler's horrible. I mean, even Casey, the MAGA Trumper guy, he would even agree with me. That's something we both agree on. But you killed Luke. You killed Han. I'm sorry. You made me have to consider saving Hitler, which I would have done. I mean, like I said, I would have chosen to light the whole boat on fire and you both would have gone out Viking style. But I mean, anyways, that question alone would have caused Casey to talk on here for 35 minutes. I mean, we always plan to do like a 30-minute podcast, but you say Kathleen Kennedy or woke or anything, and it just sets him off. I don't know. He's cranky. I've never met a guy as healthy as him as cranky. Teasing. I know that Casey, you will watch this at some point. You were missed. I hope you don't mind that I have been playing with your lightsaber, wearing your Darth Vader mask, and might have broken out some of your action figures. Means the price to pay coming in here. I mean, these bad boys, might play with them later. I don't know. Maybe not. Thinking about it. But anyways, those are the questions I got. Maybe -1, from Brad E. I don't know where that guy came from. If you want more questions, you can ask me. Feel free to, Mom, you can just call. I'd love to hear for you. It's been a while. You got kids. I mean, I'm trying to get in some of that inheritance before you spill it all, or, spend it all. Come on. Barbara, expect a question from you. Sarah, I don't think you listen. Matt, you might listen. Depends. But throw me some more questions because, I really wanted to show Casey that I am the future of this podcast, and he's not needed, even though he is much better at this than I am. That's why I make him talk, because, the worst thing about this whole podcast job is that I have to go edit this, do all the stuff, and post it, which means that I have to hear my own voice. And let me tell you, in my head, my voice sounds very manly. I sound fantastic. I think I'm an expert singer. I think that I can read slam poetry. I could do whatever. And I hear my voice on here, and I'm like, who's that nasally little wimp guy next to Casey? I just don't get it. It doesn't compute. Anyways, that's all I got. Hopefully Casey will be back so I don't have to do this again. But if I do, I need some better questions. Although, we're going to give a shout out to my nephew Nate and Seth from IG. You know who you are. From Carbondale, evidently, where I used to live. Those are the two best questions. Cynthia, that was hurtful. I answered that. So, got to do better. Got to listen to all of them. I mean, come on. From Wikipedia. Jeez. And Hector, you owe me drinks. And this is all I bought you drinks the last time. This is the best question you give me? I need more friends. I'm looking at you, Matt. Anyways, I'm going to go. I'm going to work out probably naked in his gym since he's not here and there's nothing he can do about it. And by the time he sees this video, it'll be over. So this is me signing off. Hope you guys have a fantastic whatever you're doing. And fuck you, Casey. Boom!